DMT World presents The Rambling Rabbit, and I am its host, HappyKB. Welcome to The Rambling Rabbit. Today's guest, it's kind of exciting, is we have Luke Skywalker from the community today. Why don't you say hello there, Luke Skywalker?
Hello, sorry for messing up your introduction.
No, it's fine. It's fine. The really cool thing about having this being recorded is I can go and I can cut things out, so not a big deal.
Well, now that I said something about it, it wouldn't make sense if you cut it out. So now I did mess it up.
See, you'll never know. Maybe I'll just splice it around. And so since I cut it out the first time, then I put it back in so people can hear it. So I can do all kinds of fun things.
All right, I look forward to listening.
So how are you?
I am. I'm on a roller coaster. It's like it's everything's really fast, and there's lots of highs and lows, and just experiencing everything as fully as I can, learning.
Yes, I do know. So. I totally understand. So I was looking on the site because one of the things I like to do is when I bring people on, I like to see how long they've been on the site. And you, my friend, do you know how long you've actually been on our site? Because you have never canceled yours. You've never canceled yours. You know, some people will cancel their account and then they'll come back. And some people do it several times. And so sometimes this is hard to like track. But yours has been active since April 18th of 2019.
It was the best 420 of my life.
So, yeah, that's wild because we went live on April 1st.
I think I was actually before that, but I had a different. You were wrong. You missed something. I came on as Han Solo, and I was like, you know what? I regret that. And instead of changing my name, I think I deleted it and got a new one. I might be wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe
I will go back and I'll look at that, but I don't know if that's actually.
I was like, I can do better than Han Solo.
Are you sure you didn't just change your name?
I might have. You're right. I think I might have changed my name. I just smoked, so that's.
Me too. It's okay. But no, like that's a long time. Like that you're like would be considered. So when we launched this. We went into a beta mode and we did that in February. And then April 1st, we launched and went live. So everybody that was before, and we don't have very many of those people left, were considered a founder. And a lot of those people are gone. And you're still here. You know what I remember about you? I can remember being up. I can remember being up tripping and there'd be nobody else on the site. And then all of a sudden there's Luke Skywalker and we would sit there and you'd be like, okay, what is it tonight? You were like, this is what I imagined, KB. And I'm like, oh boy, what is it? You're like, I imagine in your house, one room is your LSD room and the other room is your DMT room.
I don't even remember that.
Oh, I remember that conversation. It was funny. Like it always seemed like we met in the middle of the night because I was up tripping.
I was definitely on at random times, yeah. And I remember one time it was the first time I'd ever candy flipped, and I was like, okay, I need to get some advice. I need someone to talk me down from the ledge of not tripping.
Right.
Or not doing them, and then you were like, just take it, dude. Stop talking so much. Just fucking take it. Stop talking yourself out of it. And you said that to me the most recent time that I tripped too. And so it's funny that like the full moon lined up with this conversation. I'm gonna be tripping again.
Oh yeah, me too. Tomorrow it'll be fun. We'll meet somewhere. Yeah. We'll meet somewhere on the side, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of. Funny because that trip I ended up I watched a YouTube video or something, really stupid thing to do at the beginning of an acid trip, and so I took half, I think it was a half dose of, it was like 100 microgram LSD and then 50 milligrams or like 70 milligrams MDMA.
Mm-hmm.
And watching it on my couch about aliens taking over and like AI assisted nonsense. And I was convinced. Oh, and then I went outside and tried my new DMT pen, and that was a bad idea. I was, it's not working. I'm outside because I can't see the smoke, and I'll just keep
Right.
hitting it, and that was so
Oh yeah.
stupid. And yeah, so
Then you met the
I
aliens,
actually,
right? You've
well,
then they.
I was like interrogating people on the
Oh,
Discord, like not in a bad way, but like, why did you do this and why this and what are you doing awake? Like trying to somehow catch the AI. I don't know, but I ended up there was like 3 or 4 people that I talked to the next day extensively, and Chaboy was one of them. Um, yeah, and I don't think I got really close with many of them, but I'd say I'm really close with
yeah.
him.
Yeah, I know you are.
He's a cool guy. There's quite a few people that I'd consider family, and you're one of them.
Oh, thanks.
Even though we hardly know much about each other, it's just like I feel like I
Are
can
you kidding
be.
me? I know so much about you. Like 4 years, man, has been a long time.
Yeah,
You've come a long ways. You've come a long ways. Okay,
yeah.
so let's talk about this. So you have been here from the beginning, and you are now here on 9/30/2023. So I want you to tell me about the evolution of the site. Like how, from your perspective, what have you seen or what have you experienced? What is something that you like about the site? What's something that you don't? Just give me kind of a viewpoint of how you view the site at this point in time.
So I kind of was transitioning away from Facebook because I just noticed that I would get really worked up over nothing a lot, and it
Right,
was like I learned that it was the algorithms. They do that for basically like views or whatever,
right,
and I didn't like it, and I like don't like staying up at 2 in the morning, like replying back and forth, battling with what's probably, now thinking back at it, probably bots.
yeah,
Like trying to convince somebody of something and they're not going to be convinced. And so I guess learned a few lessons from that. I don't do that anymore anyways, but
Mhm.
I guess was like, their algorithms make it so that you see things oftentimes that will like inflame you or whatever.
Oh,
I'm not sure.
absolutely. It's driven. It's driven by
Yeah.
certain things, certain
So,
words.
so then I remember I was in between classes. I was about to study for a test I had, and I was on Reddit, and somebody dropped a link for DMT World, and I was like, "What? DMT World? Yes, please!" And I went, and it was like it's like Facebook but better, and
Mhm.
I don't know. I was like, this is where I need to be. And it was right whenever I got kicked out of the Facebook changed its rules and regulations or something. And I was in this really cool mushroom group, and I just like was just learning about mushrooms and stuff. And I'd been in it for like a year. I'd made this like big group of like people kind of like this, only not as close, I think. But
Right.
I was somewhat close with them. I had phone numbers and emails, and we talked. Um, and not just on Facebook.
Yeah.
And and that was gone, and I didn't even like I still had the people that were in the group on my friends list, but we didn't have like a place to talk about what we wanted and share pictures, and except for you know individually, which isn't
Right.
very efficient. And
Right.
so I was like, I'm done with Facebook for this because this is crazy, and I see where it's going. and
Mhm.
um and since then I've used it less and less and less. I still, I guess, kind of, got on to message people if I didn't have their number or whatever. But
Right.
recently they told me that I can't sign in anymore until I update my ID, and I was like, no thanks. You don't need my address and all that
Right.
shit. Like, I don't need you. I'm not sending you a picture of my ID. F you. Like, I'll make a new Facebook account before I do that.
Right.
I guess
Exactly.
unless they're gonna ask me to do that there too. I don't know. But I was just like, well, you know what? I guess it's not really worth my time. I'm not.
Mhm.
Eventually, I guess I'll make a new one. For a business or something.
Right.
Maybe. Um,
Yes, using it as just the tool of connecting like that, that's all I even really use it for. We always used it for in the beginning, it was like friends and family were on there, and there was no other this extra BS that was out there. And then it got to the point where any of the shows, like the like theater productions I'm in, what we do when we get cast, they create a Facebook group for them so we can communicate in there. Okay, so that's a helpful tool. No big deal. Well, then, the groups came about. And so like DMT World, and I was an admin of another group. And so, okay, that's how I used it then. And it's just, if you use it for these connecting tools instead of sitting on there and engaging in battles of conversation.
Yeah, it was a pastime. It was stupid. Like, it's addicting too. Like, I'd be doing it in the line while I'm waiting for something, or just like
driving your car at a stoplight.
Why are you checking your Facebook? Yeah, it's stupid. Like, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I feel
I enjoy DMT World so much more. So much more better is not so much more, because I do use all the other platforms too, because I'm making DMT World's present out there, so they keep coming to us. But I look at that and I look at what we've created in DMT World, and it's such a different atmosphere. It's slower. I like the slower. I don't like the fast pacedness of how everything goes. It's
disappears.
Right. It's just, boom, boom, gone, and you don't ever see it again, or I don't know. It's just there's just a different energy that is in the way that we do this social network opposed to the other platforms. And I think that's a charming quality about DMT World. You can also tell it's more hands-on, I think, than just pushing algorithms, because that doesn't exist. I mean, you can comment on something and it will push that post up into the feed. But other than that, like there's no algorithms that will pull and show you things, because we just don't let outside advertisements in. We don't let any of that stuff. We don't even data collect. So everything is done and ran by the community, by how active the community gets.
That's why I think almost it wasn't immediate. I think I'd been using it for a few months before I finally became a patron. I don't donate to Patreon much. There's very few things, and I don't have a lot of spare cash, but I can afford $5 a month towards this cause. Like, that's, in the grand scheme of things, nothing, and it's worth it.
Oh yeah,
it's more than worth it. Like, I feel like I should be giving more, and I probably will someday, but I'm happy to contribute what I can at the moment.
And we are very appreciative of that, because this is ran by the community. We just have we're the ones that go in and just kind of take care of whatever the mechanism controls. It's really the community that runs this place. When there's not a lot of activity, there's not much happening. I mean, if people are on, like today, you guys were hopping today online, like there was all kinds of posts happening and things, and it's so good.
That's good. I'll have something to check out. I haven't.
Oh yeah.
Today.
Yeah, it's
something
been real
to look at while I'm
today.
tripping.
Right, exactly. That's right. Even after we went to Michigan for the Cuties Caravan, I've noticed a lot that have come into our community since we did that. So it's like we're gaining more people, we're more active. There's a lot more going on, and it's exciting. So with that being said, where do you see the site at this point in time, and where would you like to see it moving forward?
That's a complex question.
I know, that's why I asked it.
Okay, well, at the moment, it's right where it needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
I like that the group sections kind of archive everything if you need to go, but at the same time, there's relatively a good amount of people that are active that I've never seen their face, but I recognize their name and their picture, and
right.
There's always good stuff, like cool. I'll do sometimes I'll just go on Sherman 2.0 and just scroll and look at all the cool
and see all the stuff that's still like that. That's one of the reasons, like, to me, the
it's
groups
inspiring.
are so it's why the groups are so valuable. And even if people don't like to post them all the time, posting them sometimes, we're building an archive. Like, you can clear back to a couple years. And it's like, wow, look at these, and people that aren't on the site anymore, but their stuff is still in there. Like, it's fun to go back and look at that and remember some of these peoples that spent a little bit of their vibe in DMT World, and we've got it captured in their posts and their pictures and their words, and it's just kind of neat. What I think is really kind of neat is when I see people pop back up on the DMT site that haven't been on for
Yeah, like
a
Eddie
year.
V.
Yeah, Eddie V. In
Yeah, I
fact,
was like, dang, he's back.
right. I got to meet him in Michigan. He
I
showed
saw
up.
that.
Yeah, he showed up at the Ann Arbor, the Ethno Fest, and experienced that with us. So that was really cool.
It looked like a lot of fun.
It was neat. It was really neat to go and see it. Being in Kansas where there's no legal, nothing's legal. Everything's illegal. So to go to Michigan where you can openly smoke, that's still a weird thing to me. I mean, even though I can go to Missouri and it's, recreational and they can do it there, I don't. But, so we were in Michigan, and that was it was cool. And then to be at this festival that was recognizing plant medicines and the support for it, and these speakers who spoke so passionately about it. You had medical people, you had council, like a senator was there. You have all these people that are fighting and wanting this to get out and be something that we can actually have and attain. And it was really just neat. And it was neat to see all the people that were there supporting it too. And I don't know, I was blown away because I'm like, okay, how can we make this happen everywhere? It really kind of lit that, that desire. And I don't know, then coming back to Kansas, and it's like, there's nothing legal here. It just makes me want to get out and go do some more and go see what else I can see and what else is happening in other states. Because I think that's the thing I like the most, is understanding, because we run this platform and we have people from all over, even of, other countries. And hopefully one of these days I can make a trip to another country. That would be so fantastic. But I need to have the understanding of where other people are and they live and what their laws are, because that's very crucial and detrimental to where we're at. Because when we started this site, nothing hardly was legal anywhere. We moved to this site because we couldn't even talk about it on Facebook hardly without them bringing our stuff down. But now in 4 years, we have come so far. We have evolved so far in the psychedelic community of the stuff that's out there. The stuff that wasn't mainstream. It wasn't mainstreamed 4 years ago. We were still hiding. We were still hiding under the covers, tucked in the corners, hiding our faces, not being, really shielding ourselves because, I had kids that were under 18. Like I had to be very careful. I'm part owner of this site. I gotta be very careful. So, we all protecting our families, protecting who we are, making sure that nothing happens. But still, we're going to, pave the way for everybody else that's like us to have a community like this. And now I'm looking around and, tomorrow another state is going to be legal with cannabis. And tomorrow we're going to have decriminalization somewhere else. And we're going to have, so Texas, I have to.
Eventually, we finally have CBD legal.
Well, us too. Like that just happened 2 years ago. Hemp was legal in Kansas.
So silly. So silly.
But, yeah, so it is. It's like I like learning about what's going on in these other things, because then that can equip me better with what we're doing in the community. Because one of these days, I would like to be able to have more conversation and discussions, because federally things will be legal. I would like to be able to promote cannabis in a different way once it is completely federally legal. Like, those are things that I think about. That's my goal, what I'm working towards. So I've got to make sure I know what the laws are and what is legal, what is not, why it's legal, why it's not. How come
you need an Excel sheet, girl?
I mean, it's a lot, but it's fascinating. That's why KB's Caravan is very good too, because it's going to allow me to make it to these other states, to see everybody, to meet people, and to have a greater understanding of what we're doing in the DMT world. It's really cool. And so with that being said, let's talk about you. When you started on DMT World, you had already gotten married, right?
Yes, I
Okay,
was married.
you're married.
Um, I didn't have a kid though. She just
Right,
gotten
right.
pregnant, I think, shortly after I joined
Yes,
DMT World.
yes. Your baby was the first DMT World baby.
Was it really? That's cool.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
fun.
I think that's great. Like that is fun. Like so how has that whole experience becoming a dad
Uh,
changed you maybe with when you with the utilization of psychedelics and anything and just how you go about things? Has it changed much?
um, yeah, yeah, I definitely don't do it as often because I'm basically, no, not basically. I'm the main caregiver.
Right.
Mom breastfed for what, 16, 18 months or something, which
Right.
is rough. I probably would have stopped at 6. I don't know. But yeah, I definitely it was a lot of catalyzed growth. I mean, children in themselves, having children, I should say, are psychedelic. The process
Yes.
is
Yes.
psychedelic. It is transformative, unless you don't give a shit about the kid, which is really
Right.
hard. And I guess it happens in many damaged or
Yes.
traumatized, I should say,
Yeah.
individuals.
It does.
Um,
There's a lot of them out
but
there.
yeah, just caring so much about something because it's a product of love, and it brought me closer to my wife. I think I think for the first year was like the toughest thing I've ever done, because
Yeah.
she had a tongue tie and a lip tie, and she had these protein allergies. So like, so yeah, protein allergies, the tongue tie, the lip tie. We had to have a laser surgery on her tongue and lip at
Oh.
5 weeks old, and it was
Oh.
intense. I was holding her, and like it was really cool. This big machine, and then like this like metal hose, and then it was like a small, like almost a pen size laser, and they had like this piece of metal that they held up on the mouse so that like they could be more precise, and then like. So yeah, cut it, and they were singing to her while they did it, which I guess is a good thing,
Oh.
for a baby. Um, and
What were they singing?
they were
Like,
singing "You Are My Sunshine."
oh, that's so
You make
sweet.
me happy when skies are gray. Yeah,
Oh, that's super sweet.
yeah. It's probably like anytime that song's sung, I'll hear that. I'll think of that. So yeah, then for the next 2 weeks, I had to every 2 hours, um, basically r- like reopen the not completely, but just to make sure it healed the right way instead of getting stuck again. I
Right.
had to rub it and like put pressure on it every 2 hours, and then give her a bottle. Well, calm her down enough that she'll drink the bottle, and then get her to sleep. So it was insane. Like
It sounds
it was
yeah.
like Navy SEAL training or something. And
That that's what children are. You're right.
and I've had a bunch of head injuries growing up. Like basically once a year, hit my head pretty hard on something, and
Oh,
so it causes inflammation in the brain. I guess there's some like micro. I actually recently got an MRI, and I'm scheduled to see a neurologist. But I started taking these supplements, and I gotta say DMT World, kind of indirectly brought them, because if I didn't know Rian from reincarnation, uh,
mhm.
uh, I wouldn't have known about these supplements that I now
Um,
make and
let
mix and sell myself.
yes, let's talk about this because I had some and I don't know what happened. I think a lady at my work swiped it because she liked it because she tried it. So let's talk about this. It's what you call it sludge?
Yeah, because it's
Brain
gross. It's
sludge, brain
spicy.
sludge. Is that what it's
Mind
called?
sludge. Yeah, I
Mind
call it
sludge.
neutrino mind sludge, and I'm not the best at getting orders out fast or anything, but
What?
usually in like about 2 weeks I'll get it. 1 to 2 weeks
Right.
is like my average turnaround time, I think, because I work a job and I'm also, still the main
Yes.
caregiver even though I'm working from home.
Right.
But yeah,
So
so
it's called mind sludge. Is that
yep,
right?
yep,
Okay.
mind
So
sludge.
can you tell me what is in the mind sludge or some of it, what is in there? You don't have to tell me the whole thing because I know it's kind of your special blend, but
It's
like,
it's not it's not even. I give people the list all the time, with
well, if
the
you,
dose and everything, because I just want people to take it. I don't care if I
yeah.
sell it to them. It's just so
So,
beneficial. It helps people a lot. Even the
right.
first The first year I was doing it, I was basically just giving it away, like not really charging much. Just like they pay me for shipping and the cost that I got it bulk, and
Nice.
so it's like a quarter of the price of the. It was like an eighth of the price of the like actual like brand that I'm kind of mimicking.
Yeah.
I changed one ingredient. I think I improved it. They have I can't I don't remember what it's called. It starts with the pH, and then the last part of it's choline. And I
Hmm.
put, and instead I doubled the dose. So instead of 50 milligrams, made it 100 and changed it to citicoline, which is a precursor. So
Hmm.
it'll give you, it'll turn into that in your brain and also be a source of choline in the body, which the brain uses for lots of things.
Right.
So it's basically all of the ingredients improve brain function, which is what
Hmm.
I needed.
Right.
As a the three, I think 3 or 4 of them improve sleep quality. Pretty much the first night I took it, I was like, "Whoa, that was the." I only slept 2 hours before waking up to pee, and I was like, "Wow, that was the best 2 hours of sleep I have ever had." And
Good.
since then, I've been taking it every night, pretty much. I mean, there's a few nights that I miss, and in the beginning, it was definitely like the nights that I missed, the next day was rough. And you have to take it before you go to sleep because it'll make you sleepy. It kind of makes you groggy and like uncoordinated. Like
Oh.
if I'd stayed awake, there's like 3 hours of sleepiness, and then because I got through that once, like watching TV or something, I stayed awake.
Right.
Really, the best thing to do when you're first starting out, because it makes you so sleepy, is take it, do your brush your teeth and go sleep, or meditate and then go to sleep or something.
Right.
It's you don't want to be driving. I drove one time and I wasn't like dangerous, but I missed my exit like 4 times.
Oh, yeah. That's.
Literally, and it's like just driving home from the
Do
store.
you put that on the bottle or the container? Do not drive while
Uh-huh.
drinking
Yeah,
mind
I put
sludge.
in bold, bigger than the name, the Neutrino Mind Sledge. I put "Do not operate heavy machinery" while like in bold capital letters. Uh,
Good.
and so
So,
at
okay, so if somebody wants this mind sledge, how can they get it? Can they contact you? Do you have an
yeah,
email address?
I got my email address on the and my Discord, I think, on the DMT World
Do you want to just give me
post. Oh
your
yeah, I should do
email
that.
right now? Yeah, give me
Um,
the email
it's,
right now.
Luke underscore Skywalker DMT World at protein mail protonmail.com.
Okay, say it one more time.
Luke underscore Skywalker capital DMT. I don't think it has to be capital. DMT World at protonmail.com.
Very good. That way, whoever's listening to this, and if they're interested, you did not tell me what is in the mind sludge. You want to go ahead and give
Okay,
me
so
a
we
brief
got
of this?
curcumin, so it's spicy. Yeah, I mix it with orange juice because it kind of cuts back on the spiciness and the nasty flavor,
Mm-hmm.
and it dissolves it better. It doesn't dissolve in water. You can mix it as much as you want, but it's gonna all settle at the bottom.
Yeah, it floats and kind of bubbles and then like clumps up.
And it gets stuck in your throat so I gotta drink it with juice or milk or something. You can't do water, and even
Right.
milk you gotta like. I mean, my wife does it with water. I got her drinking it too every now and then when she's able to.
Good.
Yeah, and so um,
Mind sludge. What's in
curcumin,
it? Yes.
acetyl carnitine.
Uh-huh.
This one's the most expensive. The next one's the most expensive one, and like they're all really like super ingredients. Like by themselves, they do like 16 different things each. But this one it enhances all the other ones. So it's really cool. But you have to get, for whatever reason, you can't just be alpha lipoic acid. It has to be R alpha lipoic acid. And
Okay.
I don't know, like basically like the potency is like dramatically less. The alpha lipoic acid is significantly cheaper, but the stuff with the R, it like makes the one without the R basically like a filler.
Oh, I got you.
So there's no point in getting alpha lipoic acid. Just go ahead, and if you're gonna buy it yourself, spring for the R alpha
The R.
lipoic acid.
Okay.
Um, uh, Quercetin, which I found is really good. Basically, most of these things are antioxidants. There's like 3 or 4 that there's like 2 from a plant, like taurine, I think. Well, that's the next one. Taurine. They used to get it from bulls, but now they can synthesize it.
Oh,
Astaxanthin,
yep.
which is like super potent antioxidant. It's like one of the strongest antioxidants, and there's only 2 milligrams in each dose.
Oh,
Uh,
nice.
um, Everything else is like in the hundreds milligrams. Next, you got. I'm gonna just
Say it. Just
finagle my way through this one.
yes.
I usually call
Nobody's
it.
nobody's gonna judge you or think harsh of you. So
I
go
usually
ahead.
call it
Just chop it up.
EGCG are the capital letters that they put on like whenever you buy it online. That's what I know it
Sure.
as, EGCG.
See.
But
Okay.
it's basically an extract of green tea. Um,
Okay.
and so this is the thing that's in the green tea that is really beneficial. But I have a whole extract of the green tea, not just this one molecule. Um,
Mm.
it's epigallocitchin 3 gallate, 200
That was
milligrams.
awesome. Good job.
Thanks. And then glycine. Glycine improves your sleep quality. It helps you get back to sleep. In like if you're in the middle of the night, you get up and you can't get back to sleep. If you take glycine that night, before you go to
Mhm.
sleep, it'll be really easy to get back to sleep. For whatever reason, glycine does that.
Oh,
Ginkgo
that's good to know.
biloba. This one
Yep.
comes from a tree in it's actually getting pretty popular. It comes from a tree in China, I think.
Yes.
Glutamine. This is like probably the heaviest weight in there. It's 3,000 milligrams compared to everything else that's in the hundreds
Mm-hmm.
per dose. And glutamine is I guess it's a substance that your brain uses every time you make a decision. So anytime you have to decide something, which is a lot of time, you use glutamine. And if you run out of glutamine, you get stressed really easily when you have to make a decision. So like I know we've all been there where you're like someone asks you a question and you just finally just like can't take it anymore. You're just like, I don't fucking know how to answer this question. Like I'm freaking out, and all you ask me is which towel I should use, pink or blue. And so yeah, glutamine. Um, the next one's creatine monohydrate, which a lot of people know about for like bodybuilders. It helps the body store water for whatever reason. So
Okay.
if you work out and you take this, you have to drink a lot more water, and it like makes people's muscles look bigger, I guess. But I don't have a really high dose. They take a lot to do that. And ginkgo biloba is a vasodilator. So anytime someone wants to try the sludge, I gotta ask them if they're on any meds or whatever, because I
Oh,
can just
that's
really easily leave it out because
yep.
it interacts with everything pretty much because it makes
Yep.
your veins expand a little bit so that there's
Mhm.
more of everything getting in. So it makes it like if you take an Advil, it's more potent, if that makes
Right.
sense.
Oh yeah. That's good that you asked. That's very thoughtful.
And I can kind of customize everything too. I started adding into my own mix. Something called MSM, and the other one is glucosamine. Glucosamine is for bone strength, and MSM. No, MSM is bone strength. Glucosamine is joint strength. Helps your like if you have weak ankles or knees or whatever, it
Right.
strengthens them. You know what a joint is, right?
Right.
Melatonin is the next one. I can leave the melatonin out. A lot of people ask me to leave melatonin out, but it's only 2 milligrams, and most average dose of that's like a child's dose, two
Right.
milligrams, and like an adult is 5 to 10. And
Right.
my nephew's 13. He takes 10 milligrams of melatonin a night. Apparently, just a disclaimer: if you take if you take a lot of melatonin, you can fry the receptors. So like there's some companies that will sell like each capsule has a gram or something, and
Oh
like that
my
is
gosh.
way too much melatonin. Do not take a gram of melatonin
Oh
ever
my. Yeah.
in
No
one day.
kidding.
N-acetyl L-cysteine is the next one. That one that just goes by NAC a lot of times. Apparently, the FDA has gotten pretty serious about this one. Like, I'm not even gonna get into it. You can look it up if you want. But
Yeah.
I bought 5 kilograms because there's potential that they're gonna ban it for some reason. I'm like, oh fuck, I did the math.
Yeah.
How long will this get me if I buy 5 kilograms?
Right.
How many?
So I used to work at a natural food store, and of course, they trained us through on all the different vitamins and minerals and all the stuff that were there. But one of the things that they said is that if somebody ever comes in that you believe is from like the FDA, don't talk to them, because anything that we would say, they could cite it, and then that could get us shut down. But when I
Mhm.
worked there were so many things that they would just the next day we'd have this list of stuff that they'd banned and that we would have to pull out of the stores because
Ugh,
they
it's
found,
good
oh,
for
it's
you.
so
Yeah.
terrible, like such good herbs and such good vitamins that we don't even get to have access to anymore.
Yeah.
It's such a shame.
Depressing. Depressing.
Yep. Okay, so what's next on there?
Then it's acetylcholine, which I told you about, and then
Hmm.
this next one is phosphatidylserine. It's
Okay.
the your nerves. They have sheets apparently to protect them. This
Yes.
helps your body to. They're made of this pretty much. Your body takes
Okay.
this and resheets or like fixes. I'm so don't take my word for it. I've done a lot of research, and you
You're
can
not a
do.
doctor and
do-
you're not
yeah,
prescribing.
definitely
Yes.
not prescribing. And actually, I've got like an Excel with links for anyone and everyone that wants it of like
Oh,
the
that'd be helpful.
benefits.
Yeah. Send me
But
that. I'd like to see it.
okay, yeah, but it's not extensive, and I wish I had. I started trying to make like a list of like scientific studies that I've read and
Hmm.
links to them because that would be awesome to be able to give anybody that wanted to, look into it themselves. But I
Yes.
don't have the time at the moment to do that because it's
When
a lot of.
spontaneously, when you think about it, go save it in somewhere and just do it a little bit at a time. If it comes to your brain, go save it, and then
I have an
eventually,
Excel, and
yeah.
I'll do it. I've got like 3 or 4, but I mean, so quercetin. There's a few of these that remove heavy metals, aluminum,
Important. Yeah.
fluoride,
Mhm.
borium, strontium, things that are being sprayed on us from above,
Right.
and that are just natural, from companies or whatever.
Right. Things that we use on a daily basis.
Yeah, so then the last one's D-ribose. I don't remember what that one does, honestly, but
But
I put it in there because I know it
it's
helps.
there. Yeah.
The original brand name one is like meant to the doctor. It was Dr. Bennett's, and I need to go ahead and get myself my own patent since I've improved upon his recipe.
Yes. Absolutely.
But he um, he did like a bunch of extensive studies to help people heal from brain trauma,
Oh,
and so that's what I was looking for, and I got it from reincarnation. And I met him through Rex, and I met Rex through DMT World, and so DMT World literally probably saved my life and my marriage for sure.
awesome. That's good to know.
Yep.
So, Mind Sledge. It's very interesting. If anybody tries it, I highly recommend trying it because there, like you said, there's so much good stuff that you've done research and put into this that the benefits alone, and like I've heard other people. There was who I was talking to. I can't remember who I was talking to, but they used it and they liked it, and they had lots of really good positive things to say about it.
I've had a few people that can't sleep.
Yeah.
And I think that it's some people's just brain chemistry. It's just not. Even when I'll like, I don't know what ingredient it is that for some people just reacts with them. 3 people out of like at least 100 people that I've given it to or sold it to,
Hmm.
just tell me they couldn't sleep all night, which is like the opposite reaction for most people. They just pass out in 15 minutes. um, but yeah. I think it might have to do with caffeine consumption and like caffeine still being in your blood system because if I drink even just a few sips of tea or coffee
Yeah.
after 3 or 4 p.m., I'm up until 2 or 3 and not all
Mhm.
night. I'll fall asleep eventually, but because I drink my sludge every night around like I don't know. I used to do it at 9 o'clock because I've been going to bed earlier, but now I can drink it at like 7, and then even if I'm going to sleep at 8 or 9, I don't get the grogginess. I guess I
Oh yeah.
feel like the sleepiness comes from it cleaning out your body. And
Oh,
I
that's
feel
possible.
like that since I've been taking it for so long, either that or like either my body's like a lot cleaner than it was before, and like so it's not as draining on the body to remove these toxins,
Right.
or my body's just gotten used to it. I guess it's a like a tolerance
Yeah,
somehow,
that's
but
that's that is possible. Yeah.
like I would think tolerance, but then at the same time, if all of like if most of it is just antioxidants, removing things, why would you get a tolerance to something that's removing
That's
things?
removing things. I don't know. Maybe it's how the body responds to it.
Yeah, maybe. I
Gets
don't know.
used to it. I don't know either.
It's been
That's
2 years, I think, a little over 2 years now at this point.
yeah. Well,
Anyways, I stung myself this morning
oh.
because we were having this conversation. I went out to my bees and checked on them, and man, it took me like 10 to 15 times of like catching a bee to finally get it to where I had circled on my arm where the cyst is. It
Oh
was
gosh.
Sharpie. And this time I've been doing it on my forearm and they've gotten significantly smaller.
Oh.
But there's one on my like elbow and
Mm.
so it's annoying and I want to get rid of it. So I stung that one today, but it's really hard to do in the suit. Like I have to make sure there's bees like swarming, like not a whole lot. There's probably like 8 to 10 that are like around my body looking at me and wanting to attack me because I'm messing with the hive. And then
Yeah.
everybody else is just doing their thing on the hive. And there's a few like once I started picking up other bees, they would like come at my suit and like try to sting me. They'd sting the
Oh yeah.
suit, and they'd be fine because it's just the suit. You know, they didn't lose their stinger in the suit, thankfully.
But how
Um,
long how long have you been messing with these bees?
I got them in May, and I've been stinging myself since I got them. So
What prompted like what how did this come about? Like were you one day like, "Oh, I think I'm going to mess with some bees." Like how do you make that like tell me about this. How did this come about?
So I bought my wife. Okay, well, I guess it started with Psychedelic Salon. He had this person, Shauna Holm, on, and she was cool as shit. It's a
Mhm.
podcast, and
Right.
so she was talking about how she has these, well, I don't know what mushroom therapy, like one-on-one with a person in the
Mhm.
forest, 5 dried grams, that whole thing, and she's like a caretaker or whatever, and she talked about bees, and she got like so like deep into it, and so I got her book and I read it, and yeah, it's really cool. She talked about bee venom therapy and how it helps with MS, apparently, something that is like a mystery to doctors. They don't know how to
Yeah.
hear it, and but
Mhm.
like if you sting yourself, you know, of I think like a few times in 1 week, and then you don't have to do it again for a few months, it just helps with a lot of their symptoms and pain because instead of attacking the body, the immune system attacks the venom.
Right.
And then the venom also, boosts the immune system in general. And I don't know, like it helps with mood. Apparently, like it's really cool. And I noticed this, and then I read it in the book, which is even cooler because I was reading the book. I didn't read this book until I got the Hive, but I had bought it
Right.
back then, and I had watched so many videos of
And
just her
this book you're talking
talking
about is
about it.
Honeybee Wisdom for those that are listening to this.
Oh, yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. And
And Shauna Holmes is who wrote this particular book, and it is very good. I've been looking through it, and it's interesting. Like there's so much. I had no idea. Like yes, when you were like I'm doing bees, and I thought, what? Get out of here! Like, but I totally get it. Like when I working in a natural food store, like bee pollen. Bee pollen is something that I started taking when I was there, and they're just the benefits. Energy was one of them. That was because
Mhm.
I was trying to get off using stimulants and energy. I just couldn't drink enough energy drinks. I couldn't get enough anything but bee pollen. There was something about the bee pollen when I would take bee
Seriously,
pollen
that's so
that
cool.
it would just it. I don't know. It just I could do that, and that's one thing that I utilized when I was getting clean was taking bee pollen because it just helped with I don't know, whatever it is that I needed from the meth, the bee pollen, it was a nice added. that was in there that kind of kept the edge off. So no, I'm a whole
Interesting.
and honey. I'm all about honey. I'm very adamant about buying honey in our location because you know
Allergies.
exactly, and we have such bad allergies around here. Um,
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I used to have really, really bad allergies, and uh, I okay. So I talk about the mind sludge a lot, and because it's changed my life
oh,
significantly,
you can
and
talk about it as much as you want. It's
I talk
okay.
about it a lot because it's so good for so many different things. And when I do this, people are like, "Yeah, whatever, man. It's not good for that many things." But so I don't have allergies really anymore. I used to get this stinging in the back of my throat, or like a cough and a
Mhm.
runny nose and a sneeze every year between December and March. And now I don't. Like, what is that? I don't know. But I don't. I hardly get like an itchy nose sometimes, like maybe once in that whole time frame, and yeah, I don't know what it is about it, but yeah, bee pollen is like I think the second most well-known medicine in the hive.
Mhm.
But there's also propolis, royal jelly, beeswax, and the venom
Yep.
itself. Yeah, stinging yourself apparently is good for lots of stuff.
Right, right. It's crazy, but it is. It is good for us.
Yeah. So
Oh, go
I
ahead.
guess I probably was doing it like once a week for a while. I think I stopped for like a month when we had a miscarriage, and probably shouldn't have. It probably would have been a good time to sting myself. And that sounds so stupid, but it's like funny to say. Anybody that hears this probably thinks I'm crazy. Like, you know what? That miscarriage
No,
would have
no.
been a good time to sting myself. Like,
We
I-
know you're crazy. It's okay. Don't worry
oh
about
yeah, good, good,
it.
good. Right. Uh,
So, okay, your routine with the bees, what do you do? Like, if you tend to them every day, is it like once a week? How
uh,
does, I know nothing about, I would love to own a bee farm, but I know nothing about it. But I love the whole idea of it. So, give me a little, like, what do you do for your bees?
so I am far from a master beekeeper. I am like super noob. I don't really do much for them. I've got 2 acres with lots of, weeds and flowers, and I have some sunflowers, and we have some, vegetables growing, I guess. Lots of mint, which is like lots of really tiny flowers, which is something apparently bees like. They like a bunch of small flowers instead of a bunch of big ones for some reason.
Yeah,
It's more variety.
sure.
Um, I think it's better for them too. But I didn't, I planned, I even dug up like a place to like kind of have an apiary, like with some concrete and lots of like a variety of flowers just right in front of them, so they don't even have to go very far. But
Oh.
I've got my neighbor, the neighbor behind me, he's a really cool old dude. He's like my step-in grandpa, I guess. He's got a pretty big pond, and so they've got water there, and they like full sun, so it keeps the mites away. I made the mistake of putting a second. So I have like 2 boxes on each hive. I got 2 hives,
Mhm.
and apparently I read that, but if they have 5 to 7 of the tray, like the foundation tray things built with wax, that I can go ahead and put the next box on. But so when I did, they haven't built anything on the second box yet. There's a bunch of bees in there, and I feel like they're just like trying to. But I was warned that if I'd put it too early, that they would waste a bunch of time and energy trying to get that clean. And
Oh,
it looks like that's what they're doing, and I feel bad because I guess like I'm neglecting them in a way because I've been so busy. But the other hive, so there's 2 hives. One of them's like really aggressive and Texas bred, and the other
okay.
one is apparently like domesticated from Italy. And
Oh,
my microphone
are
keeps
you
going.
there?
Yeah, sorry. It's
It's okay. No, you're fine.
all right. It should be good now.
You're good. I can hear you.
They're really docile, and we thought we would want that, but I'm realizing it was a mistake to get the ones that are docile because what really aggressive like Texas ones are. They're still like less likely to sting you apparently, but they're a lot more aggressive. There's so many of them, and they've already filled up the second box.
Oh,
Uh, with wax at least, and they're building out into the wax now, like with honey and pollen and all the good stuff. And so I need to talk to my neighbor's son is like 60 or something. He's such a cool guy, and he's
Wait, did you say his son is 60?
well, her son, because the man that was there actually died. But yeah, she's like 90 or she's pretty old. She's really cool though, and um, yeah, he's I think like 60-ish, 50 to 60. I think 60. Yeah. But he came over and helped me move them from the Nook or whatever it's called. It's like a queen bee and 5 trays um, into the hives and like kind of talked me through it. So when you go to the hive, you this little smoker thing that you just got going, and you spray some smoke in the entrance, and then you lift the lid up, which you have to pop off with this little tool. It's called a beekeeper's tool. I think that's what it's called. Um, and because the wax that they have just sticks to it, so it's kind of hard to get off if you're not, especially if you're not checking it frequently. And I think, like I said, I was doing it like once a week. I would pull out the trays and look how they're doing, really, really slowly, and because the faster you go, the more agitated they get, and even when they can't sting you, it's still pretty intense being close to so many bees. It's like adrenaline pumping for sure, and then trying to pick them up with fucking tweezers,
Mm,
and then get them to sting you. Like it's like you have to fight against your own like self, like preservation instincts or whatever. Because like I don't want to sting myself, but I know it's like I know it's good for me.
right.
And it's much better than the quote unquote vaccines that people are getting these days. Um, so that's my job. I get a little boot, immune booster
Immune
shot.
boost, yeah, because
Yeah.
you're, yeah. I'm all
Um,
about it. I think it's great. I think it's great you utilize the medicine. And I think it's great that you have the knowledge about all this because that's important. Like, I think it's great that you've taken the time to like research everything that you do.
oh yeah,
It's,
definitely.
and
Apparently,
that's good.
apparently there's 27 different. Well, I don't want to say molecules, but different. Yeah, I guess molecules is the right word. Things that are in the venom.
Yes.
27. And
27. That's
yes.
crazy.
And oh, you have to take like large amounts of vitamin C when you're doing the stinging because it helps the body create cortisol. Probably even if you're, oh, it helps with arthritis. You sting the joints. And it
Oh,
so the cortisol goes there. I mean, it's literally what they're doing in the hospital. And doctors, they literally inject you with cortisol, and it lasts you maybe 6 months. But
yep.
if you do this, like once, I think it's once every week for 3 months, and then you don't like it's relatively better for like a year or more. I can't remember exactly. I could probably look it up, and if you give me a minute. But
I've got all the time in the world.
Right. So yeah, there's lots of really cool stuff, and yeah, I research all the time because it kind of it's like how I can learn before I'm actually able to do it physically. Like I'm
Yes.
not really I'm definitely the kind of person that learns better doing something,
Mhm.
and making my mistakes and then learning from my mistakes. But um, this wasn't something I was able to start right away, kind of like DMT. Um, or mushrooms or whatever. I didn't have access to it right away, but it was funny because like when I started doing the research, it just kind of like came into my life. DMT, that is, and
Yep.
mushrooms, and
Yep.
anything that I was ready to finally have. I guess because I was doing the research and learning, and it's almost like and I wasn't thinking about it at the time, but it's like giving respect to the substance instead of finding it accidentally and then just like deciding to take it. It's like building a relationship with
Absolutely.
something, even though I've never been with it physically. I guess that makes sense.
Yes. So I had to learn to extract, and now look where I'm at.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, that was I took some acid one night. My son brought me home. I hadn't had acid in a long time, and he brought me home some Grateful Dead acid, and I
Nice.
sat down and I took it, and it was, I don't know. I remember picking up my phone, and I remember I was looking at just looking at it. I remember somebody had said, I was so put off by Facebook at that point in time, because everything was like political, and it was just too much. And somebody was like, you need to find some groups that of things that you're interested in, and it will help. And so I was like, okay, whatever. So I'm on this acid and I'm on my phone, and I'm like sitting there scrolling, and I see this picture, and it's a picture of this gal that is putting mascara on her third eye, and she's got like tears streaming on her face, and it says it must be and it said DMT. Of course, it was the big long word that I'm not going to butcher as I try to say it, but it said DMT, and I was like, what is this? And I remember clicking on the where it came from, the group it came from, and it dropped me right in the middle of a DMT group, and it was like a history of hidden histories of DMT. And I'll tell you, I sat in that group for a long time, and I read and I read and I read and I read, and I figured out that I needed the bark and what everything that I needed, and then I ordered it all, and I made it. And I love it when I see it on the site, that when the person makes their first batch and they get to scrape up their crystals, and it's that feeling of accomplishment. It's like it's mind-blowing, because it's like, you did this. I never smoked DMT before. I'd been around it, never had the opportunity really in the middle of Kansas. And it was like, it took me a month to actually figure out how to smoke it properly, to where I actually went, and it was like, well,
you have to build up the courage just to fucking do it.
Right. And so this is how I was doing it. I had it on okay, so I used to smoke meth, so we would chase the dragon. Well, that's when you take a piece of foil and you fold it and you crease it, and then you put whatever your substance in the middle, and you put a flame underneath it and you melt it down, and then you use like a tube or something to hit the smoke. And so I'm like, okay, I can do this. DMT doesn't exactly melt the same as meth did. It didn't get liquidy enough. It kind of just, it took a lot longer time, and it didn't run down the foil. I tried and I tried and I tried. And I mean, I would put it down next to my bed, and I'd wake up in the middle of the night and I'd be thinking about it. I'd sit there, and it just haunted me. Every time I was awake, I'd look over at it, and I'm like, I need this. I need to do that, And so one day I wake up, it's like 4:00 in the morning. And I'm like, I'm going to do it today. And I pick up that foil and I hit it. And man, the sizzle started and everything. And all of a sudden, all these lines started to come, and I was gone. And then I remember coming back, and I remember gently being placed into my bed. And I remember sitting there, and I have everything still around me. And I hop out of the bed and I run down the stairs, and I'm like telling my kids, I'm like, I did it. And they're just looking at me like, what is she talking about? They knew what I was doing, but they didn't know what I was doing. But boy, honey, I will never forget that day. And then that's all it took. And now it's 9/30/2023. And I have people like you in a community, the best community I've ever been involved with. I've got people across the world that are just, a part of this wonderful community, and we're just moving, and we're teaching, and we're learning, and we're just being human.
And we're loving.
We are loving. We are loving. We're being kind. We're trying to help people understand it's okay to be alive. It's okay to hurt. It's okay to forgive. It's okay to disagree. It's okay to be you. And, that's what we're doing. That's what our community does. A lot of us have been through a lot. We've trudged through the trenches. And I also think that's what makes our community so inviting, because you can feel the people that are in this community. You can feel they've been through it with us. When somebody speaks up and they actually give me advice or give me something, I think to myself, okay, I relate with these people so well, because they've been where I am and I've been where they are. And that's what keeps me coming back to DMT World. Because could you imagine if I stopped coming to DMT World?
No, I can't. It wouldn't be DMT World without you.
Oh, well, I'm never going to leave DMT World. So that's not in the future plans, just so you know that. So, okay, I love the bees. I'm glad you're doing the bees. I want to see more pictures of the bees. I want to see more what
It's
you're
so
doing and
hard
what,
to take a
what you're
picture.
learning. I know. I know. It feels like I'm demanding a lot. I'm not.
I'll make it happen.
It's at it's your time whenever you're able to. But I just want you to know I enjoy it. I enjoy seeing it. I enjoy seeing your little one out there with you. I think that's just beautiful.
Yeah, I've brought her out there a few times. She's so into it. Like, it's just so hot lately that I try to
Yeah.
go out there early, and she's not really ready to go out. And so
Yeah.
I just do my thing and get back as quickly as I can. But I need to get that guy. He's really cool. Get him to help me because I don't know if I should take off and I'll need his help harvesting the honey and stuff too, I think. But um, like take off the top hive because there's so many of them in it. Like I don't want to take it, with the bees. I need
Right.
to put it somewhere that's safe and like not gonna get infested or whatever with mites, but also like I need the bees to get out of it first. And I don't know how to do
Yeah.
that. I guess smoke them out or like to lift the hive. I don't want to. I'd rather just ask him and know like, or I guess I could do some research, but he's just
Yeah.
like such a direct source. Like it's more personal and easier, honestly, if I could just talk to him.
Well, and that's bonding.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
I think it's good. So, and I'm sure he you said he's 60, right?
Yeah.
So if I was 60 and some younger man came and said, "Hey, I need help with these bees. Can you help me?" I would that would kind of give me some pride because he came to ask. So I think yeah, go ask him. I bet he'd be willing to like share some more knowledge with you.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I have his number, and he sends me links to videos every now and then and stuff like
That's
that.
great. That's great.
Yeah, he's a cool
So
dude.
we have another topic that is pressing that I would really like to talk with you about
Let's do
because
it.
you are a big part of it. We talked with Shawboy, and he had mentioned the Illuminous Warriors. He had come over from Japan, and you're actually a part of what this movement or this group, or I don't even know what to call it yet, but like what this idea is. So
Uh,
I want you to tell me, first of all, what is the Illuminous Warriors?
well, so this is all Chowboy. It's his baby, and I think him and Rex and High AF
Mm-hmm.
were kind of like, I guess, working on it together. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
do much of the planning and stuff. I was
But you
just kind of,
participated, right?
yeah. So we, it was kind of like I wasn't planning on even going. I wanted
Yeah.
to, but I didn't think it would happen, especially because my wife was pregnant at the time. But then, just a bunch of synchronicities kind of ended up with me
Mm-hmm.
being there, and we were I live with my wife and child on one side of this multi-generational house. We've got a room and a living room and a bathroom, and then there's the kitchen, and then there's another living room and three other bedrooms where my mother-in-law, my sister-in-law, and my nephew
Mm-hmm.
live. And that it's really intense to say the least.
I'm sure.
But I've totally lost my train of thought.
You were talking about you didn't think you were going to get to
Oh
go,
yeah,
but you did.
my nephew wanted to go on vacation. He hadn't been anywhere in the last like couple years for summer vacation, and his mom was like, "Hey, let's go to Vermont," and I was like, "Fuck yeah, let's go to Vermont! Like that's perfect
Oh,
timing. Let's go to Vermont and stay
yeah.
there for a week." And I was like, "Fuck yes!" Like
Oh my
let's make it happen.
gosh.
And it was 2 weeks before the event. It was just
Mhm.
me, High AF, Animal Energy, and Rex and Shawboy, and that was it. And we hiked up and down a small mountain. I'd call it a small mountain. It was not easy, but it was still pretty small compared to
Right.
like mountains that you think of.
Right.
But and we it wasn't like, I don't think we went over the top of it. I think we were like going on the side of it or something. But
Sure.
anyways, we were like in the middle of a forest where they used to like collect and extract the maple from a bunch of maple trees. So there's all
Right.
these like lines set up. It's really cool looking.
Mm.
And we stayed in the sugar house where they boiled everything down. So it's like literally the energy from the forest collected in one house, and
Oh,
it's
how cool is that?
yeah. And um, I kind of so the first night we did a breath work, and it was honestly, I would say it was life changing. It was fucking cool, and I got to do that more often because like my whole body was vibrating. It was almost like I was tripping, but it,
Mhm.
obviously didn't last as long. But it was more than tripping. I'd say because like my muscles literally kind of cramped at one point at the very fastest part of the breathing,
Right.
and it was slightly uncomfortable, but I was like, hey guys, is this normal? And they're like, yeah, that's completely normal. I was like, all right, I'm just gonna ride it out. And then like the best part I think was the fourth phase of it, where you go back to slower,
Mhm.
just breathe however you want to breathe. And I just went into this deep meditation, and I ended up like crying, but it was like a happy cry because I was just so grateful for all the amazing people that I was in contact with, like literally physically at that point, and all of us together in this house to build a plan out for helping people and changing people's lives positively and just spreading love in general. We want to even meet aggression with love if we can, to change situations for the positive, in whatever way we can. And um, there's this Charles Eisenstein. He has a lot of really good books, and he there's a YouTube video of him reading from one of his books, and it's like 10 minutes long, but it's such a powerful message. And to me, that's what the Luminous Warriors symbolize. I'm not sure if Shaboy talked about it or not, but it was kind of when we started off. I wish I had recorded him talking. He had this really awesome prayer. I
Yeah,
didn't
that
think
would have
to
been great.
record the audio until we started doing like a he like passed the, I guess, the talking stick to me and someone else. And so I was like, oh, we if we can't do a video, because I tried to do video recording him and it was too dark, so I turned on the light. He was like, don't worry about it. And I was like, okay, well, I'll do audio. And I didn't do it. And
I have
before.
night vision on my camera, my recording camera, because I've thought of that. If I was somewhere where I needed the video, but I couldn't because it was dark, oh yeah, I've got night vision on my camera. So when KB Caravan gets to experience this, I'll make sure I capture everything on video for you.
So yeah, I wish I'd caught his prayer, but it reminded me of this video, and it's like this this civilization, far in. He says something like, in time or space, far in time or space, we don't know, but it was this advanced civilization that like all they feel is good things, and they help each other and care about each other. And he says he invites these other people from his tribe to go with the shaman to be sent to Earth to save it. Basically, he says without our help, they'll be stillborn. And this journey is going to be rough, as you're going to be in the darkest depths compared to what we've experienced. But um, if you basically, you're saying that like you won't be alone. You will have help, because every time things feel like they're blowing up in your face, or everything's falling apart, or you just feel hopeless and alone, we'll send you help, and it will be in disguise in ways that won't be obvious. But then you'll become aware of of each other through the long distance communications that will come, to be on the planet. And uh, the there will always be an ember inside you that burns. It can't be extinguished. But when you join together in the physical, that these embers will be fanned into a flame, and these will be the peak experiences that allow you to I guess kind of uh, fuel your the time between your meeting physically, and help you to um, just uh, grow and help others to heal. And uh, and so that's honestly, it's really descriptive of the Luminous Warriors. Like it's kind of, that's what we are. We're probably, because we're all weird motherfuckers. We don't follow the status quo. Like everyone of us, we all meditate and take psychedelics to better ourselves. And so we want to come up with some sort of we're gonna have like a I guess a beta thing going on in starting January. We're all coming up with our own, like, what's good for us, and
Right.
then we can kind of put it together and see, like, offer all of these things to anyone. And yeah, just like, the breath work was amazing, and right before the psychedelic experience, it just made it, like, cleared out all of the junk ahead of time, all the
Mm.
cobwebs and stuff, so that the trip could be just so much more for you, for like the healing process. Um, so yeah, I gotta. You said a few times that I'm a big part of it, and I don't feel like I deserve that. I'm glad that you think that, and I hope that Showboy and
Chill.
everybody else feels like I'm a big part of it. But I didn't. I don't know. I kind of uh, even in my even in that awesome group, which I would consider my close circle of friends, even in those four people in that group, I'm the odd one out that went off into the forest during my trip, instead of sitting and meditating and listening to the John Hopkins playlist. I went off to go see my family, like, over the mountain at the blueberries of the farm, in the, like, next to the Merc Forest, and that was, like, right when the trip started happening. It was when I got to them, but I had promised my daughter that I would see her, because she was freaking out on, okay, well, that's something else. She had been having these, like, I call them the shakes, because they're, like, kind of like these tremors, and she would wake up and her body would just start twitching. It wasn't like a seizure, because she was conscious and she didn't ever shit herself or anything.
Right.
But we don't know what the heck it is. We're gonna have a neurologist look at her too in the next month or so. But um, it turns out when she goes to the bathroom, when she pees,
Mm-hmm.
it stops. And so it comes in, like, waves or whatever. So we've got it under control now. Like, when she just has to pee in the middle of the night, we take her I carry her to the toilet, and
Yeah.
she goes, and then the shakes stop and we go back to sleep. But at the time it was really scary, and I was worried about her, and my wife was pregnant, and so I was like, I told her I would go there. They drove 20 minutes to go to this farm, which was cool, just for them to see the farm and everything. But I don't know, it was like a 30, 45-minute walk. And so I did it, and went to go see them. And it was nice way to start the trip. I saw my wife, gave her, lots
Yeah.
of hugs and kisses, and my daughter too, and laid in the grass next to the blueberries. My wife came over and fed me some blueberries. It was really
Oh,
nice.
nice. Yeah, that
And
sounds real nice.
then, like, said hi to my nephew and my everybody else. And then maybe 10, 15 minutes later, headed back, because it's, 45-minute walk, and my trip was coming on. And it was like, man, if this is the beginning of the trip, I don't know. Oh, we all, like, said a prayer before we ingested the mushrooms. We all took the same batch of mushrooms, Golden Teachers. And before we ingested it, we all held our hands over it and imagined, energy and love, and just sent all of these goodwills and Reiki into the mushrooms. And honestly, right after we did the Reiki on the mushrooms, we three of us mentioned how we felt like we were already starting to trip,
Mhm.
which is cool as fuck. And
Yeah.
I'd been having these weird things happen for the last day or so, and I've heard Terrence McKenna talk about this. Like when you start getting weird, when weird intense things are gonna happen in your future, they have like these ripples in time or something,
Yep.
and
Hmm.
it was palpable, like intense. Like my phone started like it wasn't correcting the time zone to Texas. It was like going ahead 7 hours or going back 7 hours or something like this. My phone was resetting the time, and it was like really weird. Like I even disconnected it from the internet, and it still
Hmm.
fucked it up. It was so strange. Um, but there's a few other things that were just like, what the heck? And then, so on the way back, I had got a map, thankfully. There was already a map at the campsite or the cabin, but I grabbed another map before heading back and, took a whiz and then smoked a joint at the top of the mountain because I was getting tired at that point. And there were some apples at the farm I grabbed. So after I smoked, I ate the apples to get some hydration because I
Yeah.
wasn't carrying the water like an idiot because it was such a long walk. I didn't want to carry it and it didn't fit in my bag. Anyways, well, actually, I didn't have a bag. Yeah, that's what it was. I didn't want to carry the bag because fuck that. So the after I ate the apple, I went back down the hill and head into what I thought was the way back to the camp, and I took the wrong turn, or I didn't turn in time or something. And when I looked at the next like sign that came up, I was like, "Oh fuck, I need to backtrack." And I was like, "Well, actually, this if I just keep going a little bit, there's another one that's almost parallel with the one I need, and if I take that, then I can at the end of it, turn this way instead of that way, and I'll get there." And I did. But that path that I took was like honestly, obviously never taken because there was like shit growing everywhere, and there at one point I couldn't tell if I was on the path or not, and like it was crazy. Like I'm like as far when I knew where I was going, I was at like this constant pace, and so like the steps I was taking became the beat to a song that was playing in my head that had words to it that I wasn't, thinking of. They just came to me, and it was really cool. I wish I had recorded it or something, but it was really nice. And like the one point that I was talking, or whatever the lyrics or the poem or whatever the heck it was, the word
Mhm.
mushroom came up because it was describing some of the experience, and the word mushroom came up, and right when I said the word mushroom, there was like this big batch of some sort of really cool yellow mushroom, and I was like, wow, that was really like that's a synchronicity if there ever was one.
Yep. That's
And
right.
and so I kept going after I took a couple pictures, and there was a few times where I was like unsure if I was going the right way, and I'd hesitate, and I'm wearing long pants because I knew that there was some places where the grass was tall, even on the right path. So thankfully, I wasn't worried about getting like bit or anything.
Right.
But then like this bee or some sort of wasp or something would come like swarm around me, and I when I took off from the camp to go see my wife, that's the first thing that happened when I was like maybe 10 minutes into the walk. This bee started like attacking me. Like I didn't get stung, but it was like whatever it was like landing on me. Maybe it was biting me or something, not a bee, but whatever it was as big as my thumb. And I started having to like because I thought I was tripping and so I turned my camera on and started like I was smacking my head to try and get it when it landed on me, and I never saw the actual bug, but there was blood, like a green blue blood on my hand. So after I smacked it, finally it stopped like attacking me. But that coincided with me pulling out my phone because it wasn't like consistent. It would do it a little bit, and then like because I was swinging my arms around to get it away, it would stop, and then it would come back and attack me, even though I'm walking. And so I pulled my phone out, but because I thought it was going to come back, but after that I had already killed it, and so I was like, well, at least it stopped. Whether I was tripping
Right.
or not, like I don't know. But so then that would happen a few times on the way back, where some weird like the same buzzing on comes up behind me, and I just take off running when I heard it, and it ended up going the right way. And it was kind of funny, like like nature was talking to me to get me back to those guys, uh, and possibly telling me not to leave them, at the beginning,
Right.
you know. Now that I think about it, it was probably like, hey, get back here.
Right. Right.
um,
Come back. Come back.
so yeah, I there was twice that a fern waved to me, and it was like a turn I had to take, like, hey, this way. And it was
Right.
like crazy. Like I don't know. It was like it was I took 2 grams and I was gonna take the other 3 on the way back. Because I wanted to take 5. The most any of us took, I think, was 3.
Right.
And it was intense. Like it felt like 4 grams of what I usually take.
Mm.
But yeah, I made it back, and we had a few different types of breathworks. I think like the next morning we did something really like shorter. Um, we slept there 2 nights. So the first night was that hour and a half breathwork, and the second one
Right.
we tripped and then just hung out around the campfire and stuff, watched the sun go down, and it was just great. Like it was much needed. And oh well, before that, I went to Rex's house the day before that. Jeff was the boy
Hmm.
was staying there, and so we all hung out, and I got super super high because I didn't have a tolerance at the moment,
Right.
and we talked, and my daughter like bonded a lot with his daughter who's like 13,
Oh,
and
nice.
we just hung out around the table, me, my wife, and my daughter, and Shaboy and Rex and his wife, and it was great. And like my daughter had this like meltdown when we had to leave. She's 3, and she wanted to stay and play with his daughter, and it was so cute, and I felt so bad. And I'm like, okay, we can stay, but only if you're eating dinner. You have to eat something, and it got her to eat. His daughter is awesome. She's so cool, and like good with kids. I was like, is she bothering you? Do I need to take her? Because I'm so used to being the caregiver, and like, if you don't want her in your room, you don't have to have her in here. And she's like, no, we're having fun. Get out of here. Well, she
Right.
didn't say get out of here, but the look on my daughter's face said, what are you doing, Dad? You're embarrassing me. I
Right.
was like, you're
Right.
3.
She may be 3, but she gave you the look. I can
Yeah,
already tell.
yeah. And
So,
so I went back downstairs, and I had my own little meltdown internally whenever I realized I did have to go. It's 11 o'clock at night, and it's a
oh
work night
yeah.
for his wife. And so, yeah, it was, but then after that we had the camp out, and it was just what I needed, especially since we ended up having a miscarriage. It was
Yeah. So here's the deal. I say that you're a part of this. You are a part of this because you got to go and experience what they have started putting together. And that makes you a very integral part of what this is because you're one of the first ones that got to experience with that group what is being created at this point in time.
yeah. And so what we want to do, from what Shawboy was saying, and I like it, I agree. He wants to, it's sort of like we'll kind of have a bunch of, I guess you'd call them ritual. I mean, ritual sounds too fancy. Just like things that we do regularly, and whatever that regularly can, vary for the
Mhm.
person. But this is what I do. This is what she does. This is what he does, and this is what they do. And what do you want to try? And you try it, and you can, give us your opinion, and what worked best for you, what didn't work best for you. He's got a survey for
Right.
people to take, and just sort of like build out a system of ways for people to heal from their traumas, and to learn and
Right.
grow, and
How they feel it necessary, how they feel comfortable with it.
and
That
and with the foundation of each person hopefully wanting to not just better their own life, but to better the lives of everyone around them.
right.
And so that's as kind of been.
I lost you. There you are.
Oh, yeah, my phone was my VPN and it turned off. But I'm connected to the Wi-Fi now.
You're good.
I don't know what's the last thing you heard, but I'm just I'm grateful that I'm around people that want to heal themselves so that we can help others heal. And honestly, I'm naive for hoping for some sort of like alien intervention to save it out of this world because it needs some divine or alien intervention to get over a lot of the shit that is going on in this world. It's like ramping up the craziness the last since right after DMT World, COVID.
Yep.
What I think is probably really controversial opinion of that. I think it's a bioweapon, and I think there will be more. Um, let's not get into that. I'm just glad that I'm around people that want to heal others, and it couldn't have come any
At a
later.
better time,
Yeah,
right? Because
exactly.
we are a smack dab in the middle of chaos. We know that there are many things that are happening in our world that are affecting all the other people as well, whether it be one way or another. We do know that everybody together is experiencing what is happening. However, they want to decide and whatever they decide to, however they want to describe it, yes, that is up to them. But we all know that there is lots of chaos happening right now, and it is very detrimental that we teach people and we give people access to things that will allow them and help them to heal themselves. Because you're right, that's the only way that we can move forward and help other people to learn how to do the same thing. We can't heal people. The only thing that can heal is the person healing themselves and giving them the right tools to do it with.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, you can't. It's like trying to save someone that's drowning while you yourself are drowning. It's not
You can't do it. It's
possible.
impossible.
Gotta,
It's
gotta get
impossible.
yourself an oxygen mask before you try and help your kid get their oxygen mask. I know that's
Exactly.
different metaphors that don't really go together, but they do. And
It does. You're right. You can. Yes, you're exactly right. So that's great. I'm glad you got to tell me about that. I liked hearing after talking with Shaboy and hearing his part of it, and then getting to hear you because you were on got to experience it. It's something great, and I think it's a great idea. I think it's going to be something that's going to flourish, and I'm excited to see it happen, the progression of it. And it's like I told Shavoy, like I hope that we here in DMP World can help it grow and get bigger and better, and how in whatever capacity that we're able to do it. Because we have got more and more people coming in all the time, especially now that I'm out and about, especially now that the podcast is being done regularly. We've got people who are they're coming in and seeing what we're doing, and if they can see things like what you guys are doing there as well, it keeps them interested. It keeps them wanting to know what's going on. It keeps them thriving to come back to DMT World to find out what you guys are doing. And it's good. It's good. It's very good. So I'm glad you sat and talked to me about that. I think it's great.
well, let me
Yeah,
say
go ahead.
one more. You got what, 5-10 minutes for me to tell you something else weird that happened?
Oh, I got a lot of time. Go ahead.
Well, I guess it's anecdotal, but I'll go ahead and just tell you my point of view, and maybe
Yeah.
if you get animal energy and high AF on here at some point,
Hmm.
they can tell you, give a few. Anyways,
Absolutely. Yeah.
so we were just starting, like the first day. We finally all got there, and we're setting up for the next day, everything, and we painted on the table with these paint markers, just whatever we wanted,
Hmm.
and the problem was that the two of them, Animal Energy and High AF, had to get back to their RV, and it started raining while we were just like we painted, and then we all sat down in a circle, and Shaboy did his prayer, and it started raining, and they were like, "Oh man, I hope it stops raining before we have to walk back." And then if it's in the dark, then that would be rough too. And So I was like, you guys, I've done this a few times by myself, but I think it'd be even more powerful to do as a group. Let's stop the rain, or at least lessen it. And so we did a quick group guided. I guess I guided them and to a meditation of like what I do. Like each in breath, you take in energy from the earth, and each out breath, you send it up into this. You send up your body produces electromagnetic fields around the heart and the brain, but the heart's bigger. It's like 3 feet out at least. That's what they
Right.
can measure. It's probably a lot further. But you've got basically an orb. You've got lots of orbs surrounding your body, but there's the biggest one is the one that comes from the heart. And
Right.
so I was telling them to visualize sending it up in this beam into the sky, and in our little circle, we can connect to each other because it's electromagnetic. We'll have our own little lens up in the sky, and
Right.
we use the magnetic energy to push the clouds away. And with each breath, you send more energy up, and push the clouds away. And you can push it with like imaginary hands or however you want to do it, but you push the clouds away, and it definitely stopped. First it lessened up a lot, and then it by the time they left, it had stopped, because the whole time I was doing the breath work, I was focusing on keeping it juiced up. I was like still sending energy while I was doing my breath work, even through the muscle cramps. I was doing some like hand motions with my pushing out with my out breath, and sending energy up there. And by the time they left, it wasn't raining anymore, and I thought that was really cool. And I'd like to hear, or like get other people to try it to see, because I think anybody can do it. We are all electromagnetic beings, and you can focus that. And especially
You,
since there's like lots of particles up in the clouds that are not water. There's metal up there too, in really like small increments.
so you're not the first person that I have spoke with that has told me about this type of thing. Them doing this type of thing. They called it cloud bursting. Or cloud busting. It was
Oh,
cloud
nice.
busting. That's what they
That's
called it, was
cool.
cloud busting. But they too kind of described it just exactly what you just told me.
Really.
And yeah, so that's real fascinating. That now, because when they told me about it, I just kind of was like, okay, like
Good for
whatever.
you.
But now that you've said this to me, I'm waiting for the third person to pop
Well, my
up and tell
dad
me
is
about
the
it
one
too.
that kind of inspired me to do it. He told me when I was a kid. I was like, "What are you doing out here?" We were camping. He was
Yeah.
like, "Well, we're scheduled to have some rain, but I'm seeing if I could do something about it." And he's the one that told me he would imagine a big hand like pushing away the clouds. And he said he'd been doing it since he was a kid. Anytime like he wanted to go to Six Flags, but there was going to be rain, he would do this, and he would be able to go to Six Flags. And
So okay. So my daughter, when she was little, um, we were at Worlds of Fun, and we were walking, and she wasn't doing it with clouds, but moving things. She would sit there, and I'm watching her, and she took her right hand and she would make a circle to the right with her index finger. And I noticed, like, when she would do that, the people that were walking towards us would like walk off. And I thought,
oh, that's
okay,
cool.
whatever. So I'm sitting there watching her again, and she'd take her left hand and she'd make a circle with her index finger. And I'm sitting there watching and looking around, and then people would walk up to us, and I'm like, okay, this, I'm just making this in my head, whatever.
Hmm.
So I'm sitting there, she kept doing this, and people, like, every time I'm watching, I'm seeing the people walk away, or I'm seeing people walk to us. Finally, I sat down and I said, Josie, what are you doing? And she's like, Mom, she's like, well, if I see somebody that I don't particularly like, or I don't get like their vibe, she's like, I just do this. And that was with her right hand circling her index finger. And she's like, and they go away. And if I do it with the left hand, if it's people that I think I don't mind if they walk, she's like, I do this. And she's like, and they would come towards us. And
So
I thought,
cool.
I'm like, you're doing finger spells. Don't do that. She's like, what? I can't do I can do finger spells. Like, I'm like, oh my goodness. But yeah, that's something that she used to do when she was little. So like the whole concept and idea that you guys can bust up clouds and move them on. I mean, who am I to say no, you can't do that? I've seen all kinds of interesting things that people have
Mhm.
done. So, and you have this data that you understand how the electromagnetic the electricity works. You understand how the connection works. So like, I mean, why not? I don't, until somebody proves to me that you can't, I'm going to say that you can do it.
Well, it's a lot easier to push away clouds than it is to bring them. I wish I would. I mean, maybe I'll focus on bringing the
Work,
rain when it's hot.
yeah, work. But
Do
we
some
have
rain
some,
dances.
right.
I mean, they did it back in the day, the
They
Native
did.
Americans and all the indigenous people. I'm sure they actually did
Now
it.
we
I believe it.
now we have to build weather machines to do it. So
Now we just need to get a good dance going, drink some peyote, and
we
dance
can do
around the
that.
fire.
Get the drums, yeah, we can
Yeah,
do it.
I'm
We'll do
pretty
it.
sure that's all we need.
We'll
The
make it
drums probably
rain.
make it even better. You're right. Good
We
idea.
just make sure we're on top of the hill and not in the valley.
So we don't get flooded. You're right. Good idea.
Yes. Yeah, because rain goes down and yeah.
So yeah,
So
a one just a one liner. What the Illuminous Warriors want, we want to bring you out of the valley and up onto the mountain with us, so that
exactly.
you can be out of the drudges and up in the sky.
Exactly. That's good. So we're towards the end of this. We're running, we're getting pushing time. So I do have another thing I want to know. Like I ask everybody at this point in time in our conversation, this is your moment. I want you to use it to either, I don't know, tell the people in the community anything, like
Mm.
whatever your heart's desire that you want to tell the people who are listening to our podcast that's in the community. What do you want to tell them? It's yours. Your floor.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. You're all awesome, first of all, and I am happy and grateful to be a part of DMT World. Um, I First, yeah, drink some Mind Sludge. If you don't buy it from me, make it yourself because it's very helpful and useful. And if you have a negative, I guess if you're unable to sleep, which is like the worst, or an upset tummy, I think the worst things that can happen from these tiny doses of these ingredients mixed together. That's the worst thing that can happen to you, aside from the money spent on it or whatever. But yeah, it's just got so many benefits, and it cleans out your system so well. And I just I feel like the more people that I can get to function, especially the more compassionate, heart-centered, intelligent people that I can get to take this mind sludge and improve their brain function. And while you're improving your brain function, you're also cleaning out your body from all these toxins, heavy metals and things, which also helps the brain function better, because for whatever reason, probably the electromagnetism, all the metals that your body absorbs go into the brain. So yeah, I honestly don't like, this isn't a marketing thing. I'm not trying to make money. Honestly, the more people that order it from me, the worse, because well, that's not true, because yeah, I don't mind doing the work and getting the money and shipping it, and it's nice to have a little bit of passive income, kind of, even though I'm still mixing this stuff. But it's a little stressful to have to, like, someone is relying on me to take time out of my day to mix this stuff and ship it to them, which is like, I don't know, a few hours of my day to do that. And I guess my main goal, I'm grateful enough that I don't have to do this as a main source of money. So it sounds stupid that I'm giving away the recipe and telling people to make it themselves, but I really just want people to try it, and if they like it, to use it. I think at least if it were possible, I think it'd be really cool if everyone that I know could take it for a year or even a month, because the benefits, the brain function benefits, I've heard people say that didn't really kick in until after 2 weeks. But the sleep and things were more noticeable earlier on. But anyways, yeah, I guess that's really the only thing that I would say. Go get some bee stings and take some mind sludge. It has to be honeybees, though. Don't go piss off a wasp just to get
Yeah.
stung.
Yeah,
I mean,
don't
I'm
get
sure there's some immune benefit, but all the other things are not probably there.
right.
I got stung by a wasp, and
we
I was
don't
like, "You
have
motherfucker!"
we don't have that research data, so don't go get stung by wasps.
That's true. Well, I think there has been some research, but I haven't read it. But I'm
Not
sure
yet.
that there's something on wasp stings.
Well, when you find it out and you let us know, so we know what's happening on that front too. So, well, if there isn't anything else that you would like to say, then I just want to tell you thank you very much for accepting the invite to be in on the podcast. I really appreciate it. It's been fun getting to talk to you about things and just hearing about your experiences from April of 2019 up until now, because you've had quite the journey, and I'm glad that we've gotten to be a part of it. So, with that being said, I wish everybody enjoyed this episode. I'm glad Luke Skywalker was with us, and with that being said, keep ascending, friends.